following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WZWA Network. Welcome to my review show here of TNA Impact. The return, baby. It's back. TNA is back. And this is for episode 1017 from January 18th at Palms Casino Resort, Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm guessing they take this the same weekend as Hard to Kill, or maybe on the same day as Hard to... I don't know. But, you know, they had a sold out little place there, 1,280 people. So, you know, off to a good start as far as I'm concerned with that. It's promising. But one of my biggest concerns about TNA and the return of TNA is my hopes were that they were going to start pushing the creative envelope, which is something that I'm going to be talking about quite a bit here on this review show. So we start off with highlights from Hard to Kill. The System, the new group, are shown dressed to the nines, smoking cigars. Alicia Edwards looked hot to trot. We're kicking it off straight away though with a six-way match instead of some sort of story, which is okay, right? X Division matches always used to open the show, so okay. Laredo Kid, KUSHIDA, Mike Bailey, Trey, Miguel, Jake something, and El Hijo del Vikingo. So I thought this was a vehicle for the AAA Mega Champion to be featured in a multi-man match. Thought he was probably going to walk away with a victory. But then I thought to myself, if Vikingo does not win, I expect the winner to be a challenger for Saban's X Division Championship soon. So, yeah, look, these matches are what they are. I thought these guys did a really good job with what they had put together here. I like the beginning where, you know, they're all doing the quick pace stuff, but then KUSHIDA stopped in his tracks because Jake something clearly is of a different size compared to everyone in there. And, you know, I think Jake really... despite the size, he kept up with everyone very well. I'm not going to go on about moves and shit. I'm just going to start omitting that kind of thing from my reviews. No one needs a blow-by-blow on what happened. If you want to watch this match, I suggest you go watch it. If you like X Division style wrestling, if you like high-flying wrestling, give this one a watch, okay? Because they do some crazy stuff. Right near the end is that quick flurry where someone hits one big move, then another big move, then a finisher here, a finisher there. Laredo Kid with the Spanish fly off the top rope. And then out of the blue, Jake something hits the Into the Void and got the win. And I'm like, okay, I want Jake and Saban at the next pay-per-view. I want to see that X Division title match. I'd like to see Jake win it. I'd like to see Jake be the X Division champion and get Saban away from it for a little while, because he's, you know, he's the 10-time champion, and you know, he's had his run, but it was just, I don't know, something different having a bigger dude be the X Division champion. Will Ospreay has an interview with Gia Miller. I laughed at Will calling Josh Alexander, "You cheeky little slag." He talks passionately about TNA being the reason he became a wrestler. And he called Josh bruv a few times. And, you know, the same kind of cookie cutter verbiage that you'd expect. And I'm not saying that to pick on anyone. It's just, you know, he's talking about the fact that he's going to be winning the match and Josh is going to be losing. The promo was passionate, but here's the thing. I am hoping for some interesting scenarios on this show. I am iterating it now, and I will reiterate it. We get an Ash by Elegance vignette. The former Dana Brooks. She looks unbelievable, bro. I don't care what anyone has to say. She is hot. Man, Like, honestly, if you saw the vignette, you'd be like, phew. I look forward to seeing where it goes. You know what? There's one thing I want to say. I don't know what it is with wrestling fans, but they always write people off just, and I don't know what they're judging it on, but I have a feeling wrestling fans are very judgmental towards women in wrestling, especially if they're women that have had some cosmetic surgery. They're very critical and very quick to discredit them if they happen to have had, you know, breast augmentation. They've had some work done on their face. They use lip fillers, whatever. I don't know if it's because it reminds them of girls that would never, ever go out with them or go anywhere near them or touch them with a 10-foot pole. I don't know if it's something like that. You know, I could see a wrestling fan just automatically hating someone like Grayson Waller or Austin Theory because they're a good-looking guy and they're like a jock, you know. But yeah, it feels like someone like Dana Brooke or Ash by Elegance. Like online, there were wrestling fans that were already like kind of rolling their eyes over it and not even giving it a chance. Like, give the lady a fucking chance, okay? If she didn't give a shit about being a professional wrestler, once her time in WWE was over, she probably just would have gone and done something else. You know, I'm sure she can do fine in another field. She probably doesn't even need to wrestle anymore. She's probably made enough money that she can, you know, live quite comfortably. I don't know. I don't have all the facts. But the thing is, like, if she didn't love pro wrestling, why would she keep doing it for a smaller company? She's clearly passionate about it. She clearly wants to do better and do good at it. You know, just because WWE didn't use her very much in the last couple of years, just because she happens to be somebody who's got, you know, she's had some cosmetic surgery, whatever. Just because she's a pretty woman doesn't mean that she can't be a great pro wrestler. Give her a chance. She's trying. You don't need to always be so critical about everything. I know I could be pretty critical, but it's my job to be critical. And I'm going to be very critical on this show. Giselle Shaw cuts a promo whilst holding the Big X. She won at Hard to Kill in the Ultimate X match. She brags, interrupted by Gail Kim, who thinks okay, I will get into that in a second. She thinks Giselle doesn't need the Shawntourage, her little group there with Jai Vidal and Savannah Evans. Well done, bro. Good memory. Giselle got all uppity and walked off. I have to laugh though, because Giselle was cutting a promo to a camera, right? She wasn't being interviewed. It's almost like this is their way of doing an interview interruption without me. Like, they're trying to make it so that I don't notice that there's an interview interruption. Because there's no Gia Miller there, right? Like, you might as well have had Gia with her, because I think you only saw Gia once in this show. We need more Gia Miller. She's a journalist. She needs to be running around that building looking for the scoop. I've gone on about that shit for fucking ever. You know, I like seeing Kelly Kincaid in NXT running around trying to find out the scoop. That's what they're supposed to be doing. Oh man, that's an art form that people have forgotten about. Anyway, what I found funny is, sorry, get back to this. Giselle's looking at a camera talking about, you know, wanting to become the Knockouts champion or whatever the hell. And Gail, who works for the company, I would assume, she just interrupts her. Like, we're filming something here, Gail. And she just walks up to her and interrupts her. It's just like, fuck me. Can disguise it all you like, but it might as well have been an interview. Anyway, let's move forward, hey? Zia Brookside and Tasha Steelz singles match. These two ladies were at the recent TNA Hard to Kill Ultimate X match earlier this month, which is where Zia Brookside, or Zia, I'm just going to say Zia, the daughter of British wrestling legend Robbie Brookside, made her TNA wrestling debut. I saw an interesting story about Zaya Brookside. Her father did not want her to be involved in pro wrestling at all, but she was hell bent on it. And I respect the hell out of this. She was hell bent on it that she went to Robbie's brother, who's also a trainer in pro wrestling, and she secretly got trained by her uncle. But what she didn't realize was that the uncle let the father know that she was training with him, and eventually Robbie gave his blessing to his daughter that she can be a pro wrestler. Not that it would matter, because once she becomes an adult, she can do whatever the fuck she wants. But anyway, yes. So this is her Impact's debut, and it's the first time she and Tasha Steelz have ever gone one-on-one. By the way, I'm getting some pains in my guts. So if I keep looking, and no, it's not poo related. It's like a burning feeling. I don't know what's wrong with me, but yeah, if I look in pain at different times, it's because of that. Zaya Brookside is she truly is the angel of the ring, because she's a little angel, mate. Isn't she adorable? She shows off early on with some rolls and evasions and great chain wrestling with Tasha. And I think it's good to have Tasha Steelz back in TNA. She was missed. Tasha started to dominate, hit 3 amigos, followed by a twerk. Brookside started to fight back, and she's already made a fan out of me. I honestly didn't take long for me to, like, you can see the British wrestling influence, can't you? Tasha hit a long blow to cut her off, but then I believe it's called the Brookside bomb. Brookside hit the Brookside bomb. It was a cool move. I've never seen it before. That got the victory. Good. So she gets a pretty big win here, considering Steelz is a former Knockouts World Champion. Very good. Let's move forward. We come back from commercial break, and it's I Believe in Joe Hendry. He's taking the piss out of AJ Francis at Hard to Kill, and how it led to him deservedly, deservedly getting the shit kicked out of him. Because you know what? It's so funny, right? When you think of that again, if this were real, right? Joe Hendry went to all the effort to annoy AJ, right? When he hadn't even met AJ yet. AJ was coming to TNA to show his new music video. Joe hadn't even met this man yet, and he'd made this full music video, recorded a song in a studio to put AJ Francis down. It was already pre-planned. He goes out there, he plays this thing on the screen. He purposely tries to upset AJ Francis. You fucking deserved getting beaten up, bro. Getting smacked with that laptop, yeah. Anyway, Hendry talks about what happened at Hard to Kill. Oh, it was on the countdown show. And then Joe Hendry had the laptop that he got hit with. And he turned around, and AJ's mate, the guy that hit him with the laptop, DJ Wookid, was in a trash can, knocked out. This is where I started to get concerned. Because I was like, okay, I'm guessing we're not getting many pre-tapes on the show where there's stuff happening in the back. This is what I had hoped. I'd hoped that they were going to start maybe going into the Vince Russo playbook a little bit. And I don't mean to fucking do too much crazy shit, right? But I'm talking about E for effort. E for effort. They had a whole casino that they were in. Could they not have shot some more stuff backstage? I wanted TNA to really consider, I want to consider the way NXT books their shows. They're just in the little performance center. They try and find anywhere and everywhere to utilize the whole building and outside the building so that it seems like it's its own world, and that things don't just happen in the ring or at where the set is, where the interviewer just stands and there's a TV with the logo on it. people just standing like in front of a wall talking to the camera. You have a whole building there. And you can even do that thing that you used to do in TNA where like the cameras seem hidden and you can see people doing certain things, but it's not like there's a camera following a guy walking around the building, you know, because that kind of takes you out of it a little bit, doesn't it? When you're watching people backstage and they're just kind of, you know, pretending that the camera's not there. So I just hope that this is what I wanted. I wanted them to use the whole building. Anyway, look, I'll stop fucking going on and on about it, but I wanted more angles, character development. I want to see everybody's personality, you know? Next up, tag team match, Eric Young, Frankie Kazarian versus the Grizzled Young Vets, which is James Drake and Zack Gibson. So Eric and Kazarian seem to have formed a new tag team here and just copped a loss at the TNA Hard to Kill Countdown show to the System. The Grizzled Young Vets were debutantes at the same show, failing to win the TNA World Tag Team titles in a four-way match with the ABC, Mike Bailey, Laredo Kid, and the Rascals. Where's Trent Seven? I thought he signed. Is he having some sort of fucking visa issues or something? So the Grizzled Vets, I thought that they needed the win here. And you could tell James and Zack definitely have their working boots on, wanting to prove themselves since they're running NXT. I mean, I would have been happy being in Schism either, because they had their gimmick, and I don't think there was anything wrong with that gimmick. When I first heard of them, I thought, oh, that's a cool name, the Grizzled Young Vets, or the Grizzled Young Veterans. I don't know why they repackaged them and put them in Schism, but if I were them, yeah, I would be like, nah, get me the fuck out of here, or let us go back to our old gimmick. And you know, they were flanking Joe Gacy, who he wasn't exactly moving up the card a lot, was he? And if you're his henchman and he's not moving up the card, then you're fucked. Annoyingly, we got the commercial break during this match. Oh, don't get me started on this shit. Kazarian fought back against Zack Gibson, blah, 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 blah. Eric got a hot tag eventually, and it was a hell of a hot tag. Hell of a hot tag. Even though during this whole time, my friends, Not K and Nerdcore in hashtag pro wrestling on the on Rizon Network on IRC chat were just tearing Eric Young a new hole, which Eric Young's all right. Kazarian stopped the Grizzled Young Vets hitting a move, and then Kazarian accidentally hit Eric Young in the face. And then the Vets hit their finish on Eric Young to win. I'm trying so hard not to yawn. I don't know why I have the need to yawn right now. It's 1 p.m. in the afternoon. So the Grizzled Young Vets get the win. Sick. Here's the thing. Here's the fucking thing, right? Oh, fuck me. I got to stop swearing, but geez. After the match, Kazarian laid Eric Young out with a clothesline, and I was like, yeah, like I loved it. But here's my problem with it, brother. It is so lazy. I hate being like this, but I have to be like this because I would not let AEW get away with this, right? No pretense, no context, rather than just losing 2 matches with Eric as his tag partner. Just like that, Frankie's whole demeanor, who he is as a person, has changed. It's not just that he's annoyed at Eric. He has now immediately become inherently 100% a bad person. That's where I have a problem. You can't, unless something catastrophic happens to that person, because events in your life can change who you are. You know, you're a lady, you have a baby. Beforehand, you might have been a outgoing, kind, friendly person. Maybe you've had a baby and it's just done something to your head and you've become a completely different person. I've seen that happen to some friends, I've seen people who've been in an accident a car accident or something like that. And it changed them because they got away scot-free, but they had a bit of, maybe they hurt themselves or something, you know, bad neck or something. Maybe they didn't really look after themselves before the accident. After that, they completely changed. They started going to the gym all the time. They look completely different than they did back in the day. It changed them. It made them go, you know what? No, I've got to do something drastic right now because it just changed them. Events in your life can change you, right? Nothing's happened to Frankie on that level to change who he is completely. And I'm not buying that two losses is going to be the instigator in making him lose his mind and completely change. You got to drop seeds. You got to, and it's okay when you drop those seeds along the way to the growing heel turn, right? It doesn't matter if those little seeds that get dropped, people don't even notice them. But then you get to the heel turn, and then people are supposed to go, oh, that's why this, and this was happening. Oh, that's why he was acting like this, and this way back then. I thought that was a bit confusing. Now I understand. Now I get it. You know, it's probably all well and good for me to try and explain it that way, and someone say, well, you write a pro wrestling show. I would love to. Hey, if someone out there wants me to write wrestling television, count me in. I would love to give it a try because I reckon I'd be bloody good at it. Anyway, it's just a bit lazy, I'm afraid. I'm on my high horse and I will be staying on that horse. Another vignette of the system airs. They're on the town of Vegas celebrating Moose's TNA world title winner, Hard to Kill. I was hoping that they were actually going to rock up at the building at some point because that's what I would have done. I would have threaded it through the show. Beginning of the show, the system are out in the town. Middle of the show, or no, just before the middle of the show, the system are still out gallivanting. Just after halfway through the show, they're getting in the limo and they're headed to Impact. They're headed to the show. They're still in Vegas. So is Impact. You do that going to a commercial break. You don't keep having your fucking commercial breaks during matches. Fuck. I will get to this very soon. I got really mad, bro. Okay, they're hopping in the limo. They've got their champagne bottles. They're headed to the show. That's a hook into a commercial break. No one's going anywhere, bro. Okay, you come back, you do something else. Moose's theme hits or whatever their group's theme hits. They come to the ring, they're celebrating. And then that's when you can have some sort of angle take place, okay? But all they did on this show was just go sit in a booth drinking champagne and eating food. Very, you know, I'm excited for the new group. I'm digging them, but this is the very first TNA Impact of the rebirth of TNA. I didn't think it was just going to be like another episode of Impact Wrestling, which was a very safe little show. I want them to push the creative envelope. We get back from commercial break as they're smashing food and drinks in Vegas, blah, blah, blah. I want them to make this stable really mean something. I hope that they're not just around for 6 months and then Nick Nemeth makes his entrance to the ring. Newest signing. He comes out, dresses the fans. He's dressed very sharp. The crowd chant his name. And he says that's going to take some getting used to because his name's Nick. He's used to be called Dolph. He talks about his accomplishments where in one world, all of his accomplishments. I will spit it out at some point here. He talks about all of his accomplishments in another world that he was once in, known as the WWE. Fuck. Now he's nervous and excited because he gets to try something different. I like it. Interesting. Interesting hearing that perspective. Nick wants the TNA world title, but respects everybody backstage and doesn't want to skip the line. Steve Maclin, his theme song hits and he interrupts. That's a match to see, right? Ziggler and Maclin. Steve talks and he agrees with Nick, and Nick is like nodding along like he's a real nice guy. Yeah. We knew Maclin was going to turn on him at some point here. Maclin then called him a phony, and Nemeth kept trying to respond, but Maclin kept on cutting him off, not letting him talk. Maclin mentions Nick gave so much to wrestling, which he did, that now he's here to take from TNA. And Maclin just gets on Nemeth and says something that everybody is going to ask: whatever happened to Dolph Ziggler? But then Maclin went to hit him, and Nemeth hit the zigzag. So that was a good little bit of business. That was okay. Right? We've got something going there. Jordan Grace interviewed Gia Miller. They talk about her winning the Knockouts World title. Okay. I take wrestling way too seriously, I think. I don't know why I get so angry over things like this, but I'm going to go on another rant here. All the same cookie cutter, blah, 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 that you come to expect people in an interview say. Trinity interrupts by walking into the shot. Because we only had 2 months to write this show, didn't we? I'm fucking being dead serious, and I hope to God someone from Impact watches this. You had 2 months to write this show, and this is the fucking angle you came up with to hype up their rematch next week? I'd never yell like this on a TNA review. TNA Impact, me, never. You had 2 fucking months. Sorry for the swearing, sorry for going overboard. You had 2 fucking months to write this show. 2 months where we were getting clip shows. We weren't getting any actual Impact Wrestling episodes with stories and angles and matches. We were getting fucking highlights from 2007. We're getting like old clips or, the Thanksgiving special. All the great things that have happened on a Thanksgiving episode of TNA. That's what we got for the last 2 months. And this is what you've given me for the angle for your women's or your Knockouts world title, where the match is going to be next week. And that's probably Trinity's last hurrah in the company before she's gone, because people sign these short-term contracts all the time there. You had 2 months to write something, come up with something for these two. Something interesting, a scenario that would really make me be like, yes, I've got to see what happens next week. That's the way you fucking do it. Wait till I continue on with this show. I am very disappointed, bro. I don't mean to go too overboard, okay? I shouldn't have been expecting too much from them in this first episode of Impact. I'm sure if they were on a major, huge network, like the same size that, TBS or USA, whatever, I'm sure maybe they would have put a bit more effort into the show if they knew more people were probably going to see it. I don't know. But I'm fucking pissed off about it. Because it gets worse here, okay? Jive Vidal shows up with a microphone, and Tom Hannafin made it seem like this wasn't on the format. Jai talks about how he grew up kind of like in the area, and then he rips into Vegas, where he got his start. And then, did a fucking child write this? Honestly, did a fucking child write this segment? Jai says something about there not being somebody in the building that could beat him up. Are you fucking kidding me? If I was in that room, fucking room when they came up with a creative for this show, and somebody says, what we should do is we should get Jai to go out there and say that there's no one in the building that can beat him up, and that's when PCO's theme hits. Like, not only did you have 2 months to write this show, it's clear that you wrote the show with a fucking crayon. Don't insult my fucking intelligence, man. I get annoyed enough with AEW with this shit. I get annoyed with WWE sometimes. I am sick and tired of the effort that goes into this shit. They're probably putting in a fuckload of effort too. They probably don't realize that you got to fucking push a little further creatively. If you're having your first TNA Impact in years, it's the rebrand. You haven't had an actual episode of television that hasn't been a clip show in 2 months, and someone lets that fucking go on television. Don't you fucking dare. You know what annoys me the most? I live in Perth. I live on the other side of the fucking world. I would love to fucking write for a wrestling company, but the fact of the matter is, I live in the wrong part of the world. I'm never going to be able to do that for a job. And it annoys me because I could come up with better fucking ideas than this. And I'm not just tooting my own horn like I know everything. Sometimes some of my ideas aren't very good, but that's what happens when you collaborate with people and you think, you're like, okay, how can we take this idea and make it better? What is the best possible thing we can do with this segment? What is the best possible thing we can get Jai Vidal to say here to make this segment with him seem important, seem interesting? Is this the best we could have done? Or is it, yeah, we'll just, that'll do? Because if I ever fucking hear one more person involved in any sort of wrestling company say that'll do, I will fucking blow my top off, okay? I know I'm getting worked up here, but like, yeah, you know, I'd love to write for a wrestling company or whatever. And I've got heaps of great ideas. I've got some shitty ones, but when I see stuff like this, it just annoys me. I'm like, man, like how did someone's getting paid to write that shit? And that's insulting to me. What is the best possible thing we could have done with PCO on this show? Is this it? Because it's impromptu, lazy booking. Like, what do you know? Oh, Jai Vidal lost the match to the PCO salt. PCO wins. Guess we just wanted to get PCO on the show. Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin cut a promo backstage about Okada teaming with the Motor City Machine Guns against the System next week. Okada shows up and he's returned to TNA. Good job building heat, guys. Real fucking good job building heat. I have been the biggest supporter of TNA and Impact Wrestling over the last 2 years when I first started watching it again, when Josh Alexander and Christian Cage had that match, and I saw Bound for Glory, 2022, I believe. You know, I was so, and then I was all 2023, all I kept saying was, TNA's the best creative going in wrestling right now. TNA, it has the best creative. I wasn't watching the weekly show, but I was watching the pay-per-views and I was seeing the story arcs and the hype videos for the pay-per-view matches. I was seeing all the stuff that had been put together, which is how we've arrived at this certain match at the pay-per-view, right? So I look at that and be like, man, like every match has a great story going into it. Right. But as I watched longer and longer, I'm like, oh, they could probably do a bit more. They could definitely push the envelope a little bit more. And I mean creatively. Not controversy wise, creatively. I just thought we will be getting something different rather than this extremely safe wrestling show. We get to our main event here. Josh Alexander, Will Ospreay. They battled once before in episode 1008 in a 20-minute plus battle where Will got the victory. Ospreay had already picked up victories over Mike Bailey at Bound for Glory and Eddie Edwards at Turning Point as well. And now he has a rematch with Josh here, and I was certain that Will would be doing the favor here as he exits his short stint with TNA Wrestling. Before he inevitably gets lost in the shuffle and does multi-man matches in AEW. Right. I would have really loved to have watched this match not through AXS TV, which is I was actually watching AXS TV to watch this show. It's a really good match. You know, you can tell it's a good match. You know, we had a good feeling out process. Will with the evasions and reversals early on. Josh took advantage with his crossbody to Will to the outside through the bottom rope. You know, that crazy little crossbody he does. We go to a commercial break, right? Okay. Josh got Will in the ring, German suplexes. Will hit a massive tornado DDT on the floor. All this cool stuff was happening, right? During the commercial break. So I had to watch it picture in picture, a little screen of this crazy shit going on with no sound. Whilst, I don't know, some adverts talking about the fatty food you've got over there in the US. Will set up a table at ringside. Josh fought back, blah, 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 blah. Josh hit a sweet German followed by the powerbomb backbreaker, whatever. So, look, Josh is able to keep up here with Will. We got that storm driver off the ring apron through the tables, like a double underhook powerbomb, wasn't it? That was mental. We got, you know, we got an Oz cutter, right? I'm sorry, I'm stumbling a little bit here. We got an Oz cutter. Then Alexander managed to avoid a hidden blade. And then there was another fucking commercial break. And I was like, it's such a shame because they're doing so much good stuff, but it's getting ruined by me listening to a dude talking about committing to lose weight. You know, if they were looking for diehard fans to tune in and check this out, how pissed off would you be to get this bullshit? Maybe if you pay for it on their YouTube or something, you don't have to deal with this, but Ozcutter attempt on the ramp, got reversed into a tombstone on the ramp, rolling senton off the second rope from Josh, which led to an ankle lock on Will. Poison Rana off the top, hidden blade by Josh, and Josh kicked out. Ospreay went for a Stormbreaker, then hit another hidden blade, then a Storm Driver 93, and there was another kick out. Josh hit a huge clothesline, went for a C4 spike. Will reverses it into a Styles Clash. Josh ended up hitting a Styles Clash, then another C4 spike from Josh Alexander, and thank God, Josh Alexander won. There were 3 commercial breaks during this match. And it fucking pissed me off. Josh gets the win. And that's 2 big important wins in a row. One over Hammerstone at the last pay-per-view. One over Will Ospreay. Good. It's good to see someone come in, beat most of the people that they wrestled and only lose once. Trinity, at least Trinity wrestled a lot more matches than Will, but she's still only leaving after putting over one person. Scott Demore comes out afterward, cuts a very nice speech about how proud he is of TNA and everything. We go off the air with Josh and Will Ospreay shaking hands. That's how we end the return of TNA Impact. I was hoping the show would end on a cliffhanger. I don't know what there could have been. I don't know if Hammerstone's sticking around, if Alexander Hammerstone could have come out, laid Josh Alexander the fuck out. I don't know. It's the first Impact back. I'll let it slide. Don't get me wrong, in comparison to the Impact Wrestling I watched last year, this is a solid episode. This is a safe, easy episode. There's nothing wrong with the episode. It's just not exactly what I was expecting. I thought that they were going to do a bit more. And maybe it's on me for expecting too much, but this wasn't a hot show. You know, this wasn't like, man, they went off the air fucking hot. I can't wait to see what happens next week. It ended with a handshake. I mean, I don't mean to, you know, be too dramatic about all of this, but I wanted the show to end on a cliffhanger. I wanted there to be a whole bunch of exciting angles kicked off or continued on this show. I wanted there to be excitement, pandemonium. I wanted there to be limousines arriving to the building and or, you know, people, I don't know, having confrontations backstage. And, you know, it doesn't have to be this big, dangerous environment where everyone's always fighting all over the building. But I just think there could have been more done here. So there. Like, I'd still give it a 7 out of 10, but I wanted this to be a 9 out of 10. I wanted them to come out of the gate hot, as I've said heaps of times. So there we have it, everyone. So as you've noticed, our YouTube channel's back. We were off for about 13 days, 15 days that we didn't have access to our channel. We are back. Sorry about the flurry of videos that are going to be coming through. Please continue to support us. We will be rebranding very soon. So you can check us out, the Slam Society. It's our Patreon for now. There's the links just in the description below. Also, ProWrestlingTees.com, Thunder Mifflin, our merchandise brand. Some shirts there for you. You've got to get in soon because those shirts might not be around much longer. So thank you all once again for joining me here for the TNA Impact review. If I was to continue reviewing Impact, it will be behind a paywall on our Patreon, which is only $3 a month if you're interested. So thank you, everyone, for joining me here. Karlifornia, WZWA Network. See you down the road. Thank you.
Network, that's the way we play. Good God Almighty. Network, that's the way we play. Get puppies. Network, that's the way we play. Get.
The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.